Hi, and on this episode of Relax, I Got This, the Agent to Agent series, we are headed to Boston and Marilyn Burke to talk about what's going on in Massachusetts, why she loves to live there, and why you might want to as well. Stay tuned for this episode of Relax, I Got This.
A real estate transaction is potentially the largest investment we make in our lives. Whether you're buying and selling your personal home or investing in real estate, you need the knowledge to make the right decisions. Get ready. Robin is a Texas realtor and has the experience to give you the information you need to make the right decisions. Welcome to Relax, I Got This with your host, Robin McCoy.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Relax, I Got This and our Agent to Agent series. And today I am with my friend Marilyn Burke, who hails out of the Boston area. Hi, Marilyn. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Hi, Robin. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm thrilled to be here.
So what the Agent to Agent series is, for those that don't know, is I have friendships with agents all across the country. That is one of the benefits of the organizations that I associate with. And Marilyn is one of those. And it's an opportunity for anybody that's moving in or around the Boston area, coming from Dallas to Boston, that might want to learn a little bit more and feel like they have a contact there. So that's what the Agent to Agent series is. And I'm thrilled to talk about Boston today.
Great. Thank you.
So tell me a little bit about what tell me about yourself. How long have you been in real estate? A long time, I think, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been in real estate for 20 years. My background is in elementary ed, early childhood. I was a teacher by degree and also studied psychology. So I was a weight loss coach. I owned a weight loss franchise. In college, I used to help people, counsel them losing weight. And then I worked for a diet center weight loss clinic way back when.
I remember them.
Managed other people's weight loss clinics. And my clinics got bigger and bigger. And then I bought one. And then I had my own franchise for a long time. My kids were little. And it was during the Fen era. I don't know if you remember that.
I remember Fen.
And the way I found my way to real estate is I used to do the testimonials in the paper, the before and after. Here's what they look like. And now, so my star couple was a husband and wife realtor team who still sell and they were transitioning from Remax to Keller Williams, and she was eating under the stress. So she would tell me, I learned all about Keller Williams before it became a thing. And then they said, what about you? They invited me actually to run their company. And I was knee deep obsessed in what I did. And I said, I don't know anything about real estate. I love what I do. Why would I do that? And they continued to give me books and invite me to conferences and coaching sessions. And eventually I went to Brian Buffini's Turning Point Retreat. And I started implementing his system into the weight loss field. So I made my own newsletters and flyers and notes, and my business started to double and triple. And I realized when I wrote my plan that there was a cap on that company. Went by myself. And I read a book called E-Myth Revisited. And by that, I mean, there was only so many clock hours I could service I was doing a 12-hour day. My kids were little. I started very early to 7 o'clock we would close. I had a little daycare center in the back for the girls, and I'd say goodnight. I know it was a whole setup, but I realized me by myself could only make X amount profit because, I had to sleep.
Yeah.
I was the accountant. I was the work. I did everything. And I had a staff. I had nurses on staff. I had a doctor writing scripts. I had somebody coming in to help with, greeting the people. I had about 5 employees. But all in all, I wasn't making a huge profit. My dad, being a CPA, was doing it with me. And he said, you're just above the poverty line.
Well, that's not how this was supposed to work out.
No, well, you know what? in my spiritual world, it was because I thought you give service. I'm doing service work. That was my passion. And I didn't really, not that I didn't need to make money, but money wasn't first. Service was.
Right.
Service to a higher power. And that's just how I looked at things. And I thought in teaching and social work, you don't really make money. You serve others. So it was a humble lifestyle. That's what I believed at that time. I have since come to understand different things. Anyway, fast forward, I went to a turning point again, and the husband kept saying, get your real estate license, so it was, I'm going to say it was 3 years from the first turning point. Eventually I did. And then I didn't do, he said, it was August of 2004. So that's when I started. My first year in real estate, I wrote 55 contracts. I was very busy because all my weight loss clients were stressed and eating, and the market was booming. I didn't know anything about the market. I just knew they trusted me and I could help them. And I was door knocking FSBOs and expired. And I was kind of phasing out my service contracts to do real estate. So I was working full-time business and full-time real estate. And eventually it crossed over and I left. I finished all my agreements because they'd pay ahead of time. And then,
So
and I was still trained, by the owner. So I didn't really know what I was doing, though. Honestly, Robin, it's been a journey of learning and reading and failing and learning, and it's repeat.
And that's what kind of everything is. But you're able to take the what you learned from your past life.
I did the same. What I realized is I know people. I didn't really know the system of how to sell a house. I knew a system of how to help them lose weight and read their journal and help them with the math of the calories. I didn't know the formula for house selling yet at that time, but I knew people, they trusted me, and I'm good at holding their hand and being patient. And a lot of it was that the element of selling was reducing their stress. It was just a different pain point than losing weight was. So I found it, I really enjoyed it. And at the same time, I didn't know what I didn't know at first until I was like, how do you do this? How do you, I had a million questions, and the owner, thank God, taught me. He would say, I wrote a lot of contracts. I told James, even though that pile was bigger, the pile that I sold was much, much smaller. And the owner said, how'd you let me to help you switch the piles? So that's kind of my backstory.
Well, and I think, a lot of times that's everybody's backstory, whether they're getting into real estate or just whenever it's something new.
Yeah.
It's we can excel at a lot of areas in that. And we just have to fill in the gaps to excel in the other areas. It's just a matter of learning the systems and the processes that can serve your clients, right?
Yes.
Because that's whether you're selling real estate or you're helping with weight loss or anything, you're still helping people.
Yeah, the helping part is the main, but there's all these minefields that come up. And you start to you get really good at anticipating what could go right and what could go wrong. And the more I did it, the more thoughtful, the more I could predict. I learned how to bulletproof the transactions better. I also, you learn about the real estate folks you're dealing with. Weight loss, I was in a little bubble. It was kind of a happy land, but the real estate, it's very competitive. It's a tough group. And you have to navigate. You're in a different type of water with real estate folks who could be in buyers and sellers to say, you're talking about money and other things.
Yeah, you're getting into, people's finances, and you start learning more about, I always say we're in each other's back pocket for, for this long. And then it's like a divorce at the end because we're talking every day. We're all up in each other's business. We know things. And then they move in and we're not talking every day all of a sudden. And so those relationships are very important for people to trust you with some of the biggest financial obligations they're about to do.
Well, this is interesting that you said that. What I found out is the people that I helped lose weight, we're still in touch. That was 1995. I opened the clinic, and they still texted and called me about losing weight, because when you bond with someone over that, it's lifelong.
Yeah.
They still remember. I have their before pictures and their after pictures, and you share a long journey of pain into progress. When you're selling someone's house, it's shorter. And I missed those deeper bonds because that's my wiring. I like getting to know the family. I mean, you get to know everybody in that world when you're helping them lose weight. You meet the kids and the husband and everybody it encompasses. It's a big deal. In house selling, like you said, there's a finite point and you could finish. What I never did that though. Yeah. I made sure that I would bond with them because of the weight loss world. And what I learned is it's all in the consultation. My consultations aren't mechanical about the house. It's about the people, because that's all I knew how to do. It was about what's going on. Why are you moving? What are you, they were having a baby or they're getting a divorce. There are a lot of painful reasons people sell. They lost a job. They're going through a change. And I understood change because that's what dieting is a transition or a pain from pain to pleasure. And I could facilitate that. So I learned that's why my consultations were so effective, because I didn't really bring up me. You don't need to. And I didn't bring up the house. I didn't really have to know how to sell. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
In a weird way. I just had to understand what their situation was, and I had to be able to help them. And that learning how to help and be the most effective at it was my worry, way more than it was theirs. They would hire me, and I would be kept thinking, like, you don't really know how to sell does that make sense?
Well, because I mean, you're new at it, right? Yeah. And maybe you don't know how to market it or how to put it in front of, the potential buyers. However, you know how to take care of the people that own that house.
Yes.
And have their best interests at heart.
Like learning the pricing. I'm good with numbers. And my dad being a CPA, I knew how to analyze the metrics. So I figured the formulas, like I was looking at, list to sale ratios before they were even. I didn't know they had all these reports. I was like studying it. I'd write it down. And then someone said, Marilyn, there's a whole report section in MLS. I was like, oh my God.
Oh, okay.
So, I know. So there's a lot of lessons along the way, and still is, but that was part of the whole journey. And eventually I really grew to love real estate, because one of my favorite things is I like things that change. And the exciting thing about losing weight was that there's a sort of a myth that people say, oh no, they can't change. And I used to watch change every day at my job. And I'm like, I had more faith in people because I'd see people lose 60, 80, 100 pounds and change their habits. And it would change their life. And it was exciting. Every day was different. And real estate has that same component. It's never boring. It's always interesting. You always have to study it. And weight loss has that same flavor. You have to stay current with the literature, keep up with what's trendy. Is there a new technique to help folks? There's lots of tools, and diets get trendy, like shortcut formulas, and you have to be careful of that. But the fundamentals don't change.
No.
And the fundamentals of real estate, so there's so many parallels to both jobs.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So let's fast forward now. It's been 20 years and you are, as you know, you said you're in the Boston metro, mostly south to southwest is kind of where you live and that, but you also cover more of a wider area of Massachusetts and you are double licensed into Rhode Island. Correct?
Yes.
Be the leader you know you can be. Build your professional network and access education that takes you where you want to go. We are women of all ages and backgrounds. You deserve national recognition and opportunities to build relationships with people you want to work and grow with. Hit the ground running with the Charisma chapter of the American Business Women's Association. Meetings each month from 6 to 8:30 p.m. on the fourth Tuesday in Farmers Branch, Texas, and online. Come with us. Experience ABWA for yourself. Go to charisma.abwa.org to learn more.
But you also cover more of a wider area of Massachusetts and you are double licensed into Rhode Island, correct?
Yes. So I followed Brian Buffini's model that I learned at the weight loss clinic. And the model is you do business by referral. So when I help a family, they refer business to another family member who didn't live in our town. And I found I was going all over Massachusetts and my family, my mom and dad are from Providence, so I'd go into Rhode Island. So I said, well, you better get your license so you can help all my cousins and my relatives. So that's why I got dually licensed. And if you drew a map of where I've serviced, I've hit all over Mass and Rhode Island. And I make a joke that I don't go past the bridge. So I don't go over the Newport Bridge. I don't go over the Tobin Bridge, which is north of Boston. I don't go over the bridge down the Cape, Sagamore. And there's no bridge towards Marlborough that way. So, but I have a radius. It's about 18 miles if you drew a circle. But I work by referral. And I work by referral. I follow the clients when they move. People do repeat business with me. I've amassed a huge database. I have about 32,000 names in my cell phone right now. It's amazing. I should have a bigger business because I know a lot of people. And about 12,000 of those folks get mailed, they're part of the contest. And, they come to me and they say, Marilyn, can you help me? Or my need changed. And they're buying a bigger house, so they're downsizing. I'm working with their kids because I've known them for a long time.
Yeah.
I tend to be one of those people that stay in touch. So my friends from my youth, I still know them. My friends from, each tier, my neighbors where I've lived, I still know them. And then I just collect more people along the way. That's why.
Well, and that's what a referral business is, right? And we're I think we're in the age now, or the, not age and how old we are, but the age of the world that people go and they'll go to Facebook and say, I need a realtor, or I need a plumber, or I need a this or that. They want to know people that you've already worked with. And it's easier to do that these days, right? Because we can communicate like you said, you got 32,000 people sitting in your phone that at any point can reach out to you. So I think, as a company, whether you're selling real estate or anything else, the relationships that you build so that people continue to refer you just is a testament to who you are as a service provider.
Yeah, I have a big network of allied resources or partners, painters and roofers. I just went on a listing appointment. She's received 9 referrals. She needed the roof done. My driveway guy, she has an electrician, she has a painter, she has a plumbing leak. Every single service provider on my fingertips is at her house giving her a quote. And then we're going to meet again and talk about how we're going to manage the project. Are we going to renovate everything? Are we going to cherry pick through the renovations? How are we going to do it? But she already hired me. We just have to launch a game plan. Sure. So that's what being in business a long time does. The other thing I'm very proud of is my reviews are on Angie. Angie was Angie's List. And way back when Angie's List first came out, the only way you could get a 5-star review is if your clients went on. You had no idea. Well, my clients were going on giving me 5-star reviews. And then they said, you won the Super Service Award for real estate agents. I'm like, I did. Like, I didn't ask them, but every year, if you go on, I've won the award because you have to get a hands down 5-star review, which is not easy. It means you've provided service at the highest possible level.
Yeah.
And that's what's always been consistent or important to me. Like, even in the weight loss field, I didn't just want them to lose weight. It was helping them transform their life so it could become a permanent part of their new them. Like, it was a lifestyle change. And I was all in with them, doing it as their coach and helping. And real estate's the same thing. You don't really leave their life when you help someone buy or sell a house. So you don't have to, because you always need something for your house. You have to remodel, or problems come up, or kids get bigger. And then it's just families grow and change.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty proud of the fact that, and now I have also people that help me. I don't succeed by myself. I've added helpers along the way because the job, it just grew. And I said, oh my God, I don't have enough time to do everything. And I was staying up, I could do a 12-hour day, but the 13th hour, like, at some point, I'm like, I need to go to sleep. And it's always been my energy level. I have a lot of energy. And I realized, I'm like, you are going to have to find people to help you.
Yeah.
So the Marilyn and Company is the team. And it's everyone. The and Company represents all the other many, many people who help me do this job now. And they get credit too, because the way that we show up as a group is what gives people the A+ ratings, I believe.
Absolutely. There's a face to a group, but no one succeeds alone, right? And so we can't possibly, as realtors, be everywhere all the time. We can't do all the things all the time.
Right.
And, because you just physically can't. You just can't.
I think too, you learn, like, I was taking photos in the beginning, and I have a 35 millimeter. I love photography. I'm pretty good. I have a good eye. I can't take photos as well as my pro right now. He does Matterport and floor plans. He's amazing. I learned how to virtually stage. I went to RISD, took some classes in interior design. I can't do it as well. Okay. Right. And you learn, you can leverage to a specialist. The sign guy, I was the sign person, putting the sign in, not thinking, you have to worry about the gas line and dig safe. And there's all these other variables. And the ground would be frozen. My husband, I'd be on a 911. Can you please help me? Poor John, my husband, he'd be the rescue with the sign, and he'd say, you're putting up too many. They're going to get wrecked in the snow because we're in New England. Anyway, that was another leverage. So I learned just to get a runner. Some days just to pick up my own dry cleaning I'm like, I don't have enough time. I'll go food shopping. All my tasks that had to be done for me were going on to the sidelines while helping other people, because I was running out of clock hours to help them. So when I started to get smart about leveraging and getting more helpers, I could focus on my skills, which is working with the family direct and the negotiation. Those are what they're paying me for. At this point, I get paid for the 20 years of experience, knowing how to navigate it, so it's nice and smooth.
Well, and giving that client, whether they're a buyer or the seller, as much of your attention as you can.
Yes.
Right? You're able to give them the attention they need and deserve, because you're not running and putting a sign in the yard or a lockbox at a house.
Yeah. I never want them to feel like some of them have no idea, like, the volume, because I never want them to feel
and they shouldn't. They shouldn't.
I don't want them to know, like, I never want them to think I'm put out or I'm too busy.
Right.
So I like to make them feel like, yeah, I have all the time. What do you need? That's always been consistent, even in weight loss. You need help, let's talk.
Yeah. So let's talk about kind of the real estate. And when I say the real estate market in the Boston area or New England, I don't mean like how much our house is selling for, but what's it like right now? What kind of houses do you sell? When somebody asks you that question, tell me about why I should want to live there.
Are you looking to buy or sell a home in the bustling DFW area? Look no further, because I am Robin McCoy, your trusted real estate agent with Keller Williams Realty. For over 15 years, I've been helping buyers and sellers navigate the real estate market here in DFW. So whether you're looking for your dream home or aiming to sell your property for the best price, relax. I got this. As a seasoned professional, I'll guide you through the entire process, ensuring a smooth and stress-free experience. I understand that buying or selling a home can be a significant decision. That's why I pride myself on providing exceptional customer service. I'll be with you every step of the way, answering your questions and addressing your concerns. So why take a chance with just any real estate agent? Choose me, Robin McCoy, the professional who has proven my excellence in helping both buyers and sellers in the DFW area for over 15 years. Call me today at 214-226-3770 or visit my website at robinmccoyrealty.com. Let's make your DFW real estate dreams come true. Relax, I got this.
But what's it like right now? What kind of houses do you sell? When somebody asks you that question, tell me about why I should want to live there.
So, well, first of all, it's a seller's market. There's a shortage of inventory. I specialize, my background, I ended up going to RISD to get an interior design, and I want a product, if I can call a house a product, in showroom condition. So what I'm known for, my reputation, is getting that product ready so it's a perfect launch. When it hits the market, think of it, Robin, if you were going to a wedding, I bought you a new dress, your hair's done, your makeup's professionally done, you have nail polish, the shoes, you are completely put together, almost like the bride, and you're game on ready. My houses are ready. My detail sheets, I can answer any question. I study it. So there isn't a question I'm not prepared for. My seller knows the launch, and it's a strategy plan that we do together. And they know the beginning, middle, end, when the open houses will be. I have a plan A, a plan B. It is completely orchestrated, just like I was hosting a wedding. Every detail down to the nth degree is pre-planned. So there's nothing osmotic. There's nothing that they're not prepared. They're ready for the emotion of the negotiation. That's my reputation in Massachusetts. So it doesn't matter what the product is. What I happen to be in, as I was in the business longer, the higher price point sellers or the luxury home sellers found their way to me because of the way that I listed property and staged and photographed. They'd say, wow, this is so impressive. I have an open house station. I've always had some of the things we hear from Pivot. That's always been my way. And I have a feedback system that they see. So when they came in, they'd be impressed, and I did get an assignment. Once you work with one neighbor, well, they tell two friends, and it spreads by word of mouth. So the quality product that we do is well known in the Massachusetts area. The market right now for 2024 is moving at lightning speed. It's a multiple offer market. My listings usually sell at the first open house. I still defer the listings for the weekend, and I get as many people, just like a movie premiere. So that's a strategy. The other thing you have to be very good at is pricing and numbers. So it doesn't matter what size, a 1,700 square foot house or a 3,000 or 5,000, you have to study the metrics, what's sold, how to price it right. And those are the things that I feel like my skill set, it's a natural for me to be curious about it and study it. So it doesn't matter what town, each town in Massachusetts has its own story. And you just have to study the numbers, present, and that's just part of the job. So right now we're trending about 38 days on market, and our average sale price year over year, it's down a tiny bit. When I say a tiny bit, at the end of first quarter. So last year it was like 43 days. It's 40 days. Last year it was 31 days to offer. It's about 38. So it's taken them a little time to bid. And the average sale price has gone down from 741 to 741,611.
Okay,
Yeah, a tiny bit.
tiny bit. So how many? I mean, how active is the in and out in your area? So how many people are less necessarily moving in? Like in Dallas, people are coming here in droves,
Well,
right? So do you have a lot of people moving in and out?
I have what I noticed in mine from Pivot Referrals, which is statewide or international, is the young kids for college, mostly college age, for rental, and then the families following them. Boston has the best schools. Boston has the best medical. So it's attracting anyone in the engineering or nursing arts or doctors. Those are my reloads, and that's the population. Also, with the big IT companies, Boston is, number one in some of these areas. So that's the migration. However, and I say this, however, because it's a big deal, Massachusetts is cold right now. It's cold, you guys. We're getting a major snowstorm, and you'd think it's the blizzard in 1978.
I was there then. I lived there then.
Okay, Robin, everything is shutting down. They're closing early today for tomorrow. The snowstorm is supposed to start overnight and be full force by the morning, 12 inches. So the roads, you can see all the plows are lining up, the sand trucks. But in this one, because it's our first major one of the year, but when it gets cold, you start getting JetBlue emails all the time.
I'm like, are you ready to go to Florida? Let's go.
The temptation when you have on 5 layers of clothes, or I've got, even though I have on cashmere and it's warm, sometimes I'm double cashmered up. My husband likes the house cold, and I got a hat on my gloves. You can't go out without your boots. It's it's cumbersome, and then you say, why am I doing this? However, as soon as spring and you see one fall, we just left fall, and I love the fall.
Yeah.
So, and I love change. So I think why I stay in New England and others do is because of the change. And you can go anywhere in Mass. It's really exciting. You can be in the hub of the city. You can also go to the Berkshires. If whatever flavor of Mass you want, you can find it. There's plenty of waterways and waterfront. There's a lot of ocean, and there's lake water. And Rhode Island is a hop, skip, and a jump. I'm 15 minutes from the border. So that has a lot of work. So it really has everything, with our 2 airports. And it's very exciting. I just think Boston, it's one of the cleanest, safest cities. And there's a mecca of restaurants now. They've opened up the North End. You can have everything at your fingertips, I feel. I think we have it all for all the age groups. It's not like Chicago. My kids are in Chicago where the millennials are dominating. This has enough of a mix of people.
Yeah, that's, I think some of these, these metro areas, and whether it's Boston or downtown Chicago or Pittsburgh or Dallas or any of them, they get this flavor to them. Yep. And, and they're ever changing. I mean, it has to be. But at the same time, when you can say, it's not that far to go to the North End or to go to Providence or the Berkshires, that you can have a little bit of everything. Yeah. As long as you can deal with the cold. I can't deal with the cold anymore. As long as you can deal with that, yeah, it's beautiful up there.
I think Boston attracts people that want to go in finance, attorneys, like law, certainly the educated people that like education or value education. the engineering schools like MIT and even Wentworth and what's around Boston, like Harvard, all the universities, you've got the best teaching hospitals. So anyone who's going into nursing or medicine, it's top notch. So I feel like that's predominant in the city. And then the millennials, I feel like are now like just on the outskirts too. They found their space in South Boston or Southie and then Quincy. They're like spreading out, but they're not quite ready to come to the suburbs.
Not quite. They're not hanging on the edge,
Yeah.
So if somebody were thinking of moving, into the Boston area, what would you say is the most compelling thing? Whether it's maybe you've already said it, right? The seasons and all the things, but what are the things you love the most? Things you love the most about where you live?
I love change. I love change. I love that I can get in my car and drive to the water, to peacefulness, or to the city. I like options and versatility, but Massachusetts gives you that. So if whatever mood I'm in, whatever I want, am I seeking quiet by the water? There's any flavor of restaurant, any type of entertainment, I can Google and be there. And it's a short radius. It's not a far drive, to get to anywhere. I love that about Massachusetts. I like education and going to school and learning. And I like it being trendy and state of the art. And I feel like Boston keeps up with culturally with what's happening. So it's not a sleepy town. You don't go to California and be like, oh my goodness, we're so dated. It's trendy and it's in the know. I love that it's a front runner in what's happening in education and what's going on in the world. Politically, we have an interesting political climate in Boston, and it's friendly. Bostonians are like the Boston Strong. They pull together. They're very competitive, yet not against each other. Does that make sense?
They're competitive against the outside world.
Yeah, so we row this boat we're rowing the boat together in the Boston Strong. If I didn't know that before, there's nothing better than feeling like you're united. You watch the game. John and I went out to watch the game, but the whole place was in unison. It was pretty cool. It feels really, you feel the energy of that. And I love that. That's my favorite. So it's a friendly city. It's not for the weary. I think you have to be game on and go. It's because when I say competitive, I mean, I think it makes you do your personal best. That's how you're brought up in the schools. You're not floating along. It's not a sleepy classroom. It's a learning. A lot of questions and stimulation. And that was my experience. It's competitive. And it's competitive for the kids now. My kids were involved in way more than I was, and I thought it was competitive back then. So we're preparing young people, the next generation. So I think if you were raising your kids here, I think we have it over other people's school system wise. My girls are both financially independent. They're 31 and 33. They learned how to manage money, and they don't have debt. Like that was from the school and I like to think from me and their dad, but they were prepared for life. They didn't boomerang back home. They're self-sufficient. They're stable women. Like they're doing really well. And I feel like that's the school. That's the environment they were brought up in.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. When you can look at, I guess, your kids and you see where they came from and you can attribute it to the environment in which they grew up.
I like to take credit. Don't tell them.
I'm sure you had a little bit to do with that. I don't know.
I know. They're so cute. I have two girls. They're very independent and I wanted them. I used to say, well, give it your best shot. Tell me why. Give me the counterpoint. I didn't mind them challenging me intellectually and say, well, what are your thoughts? Well, why do you think that way? And, when we were younger, it was more do what you're told. And I really wanted my kids to think and be be able to take care of themselves. I like, give me a fish and I eat.
Yeah.
I wanted to teach them how to fish. So
that sounds like you did a good job there.
Yeah.
Good example. All right. Well, we're going to wrap this up. I want to thank you, Marilyn, for spending some time and talking about you and your environment, your business, and how you like to run your company.
Thank you.
We're going to have all of your contact information and all the show notes and all those good things so that people that need you and in the Boston area and Massachusetts, Rhode Island, all of that can reach out to you.
Thank you.
And
I would be honored. Any of your friends, or even if they just want to call and they have questions, whatever they need.
Yeah, because you never know, right? You don't know who's moving where, or maybe under consideration, whether they're moving within your area or coming from Dallas or Chicago or anywhere else. So yeah. I've known Marilyn for a year or so now, and I can attest she knows her stuff.
Thank you.
Anyway, that wraps up this episode of Relax, I Got This and the Agent to Agent series. Stay tuned for the next one and have a great one. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Thanks for joining us for Relax, I Got This with Texas Realtor Robin McCoy. Check out all the show notes for contact information on Robin and her guests and to access your free buyer and seller guides. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss a conversation. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time on Relax, I Got This with Robin McCoy.